Welcome to the LSB channel. This is a complete step-by-step guide on how to build a stunning NZXT gaming PC step-by-step. All the components are listed in the description. Feel free to pause or skip ahead when needed. For this build, we're using the NZXT H9 Flow case in black. First, let's remove the top, glass, and rear panels. This spacious case is one of the best-looking dual-chamber PC cases in the market right now. Once the rear panel's been removed, undo the two screws on the metal bracket and swivel it across to gain better access to the cables. In that space, you'll also find an included box of parts necessary for the build. This box contains many screws and tools. However, some of them are provided as extras. Let's take a quick look at them. There's a bunch of cables such as HD audio, front panel, or USB 3. I'm going to show you how to connect them later in the video. But first, as I want to use the Corsair QX120 RGB fans instead of the NZXT that came with the case, we need to take the NZXT fans out. It's a pretty straightforward job, starting with taking out the rear fan. Notice the amount of Velcro straps that are really useful for cable management. And then the side fans. Just loosen up all the fan screws. It makes undoing the screws easier later on. Undo the 3 bracket screws. Then unstrap the fan cables. And finally pull the whole fan bracket out. Undo all the screws, and that's it. You can now attach the bracket back or do it later. Next step, the motherboard. This one is a MSI Mag B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. It's suitable for AM5 processors, has 4 DDR5 memory slots, and also features 3 Gen 4 M.2 slots. The CPU that I'm using is the AMD Ryzen 9 7900X, 12 cores, 24 threads. It's a powerful gaming and streaming processor with a base clock speed of 4.7 GHz. To put it in, we need to undo the retention arm on the side of the socket and lift the socket lid. Take the processor out and hold it carefully, making sure to only touch the edges. Notice a triangle on the top left corner of the CPU. This will have to line up with the same marking on one of the corners of the socket. Next, lower the socket lid over the CPU. Push the retention arm down and under the hook and the lid will pop out. Next up is the Vengeance RGB DDR5 memory from Corsair. Following the recommended memory configuration for 2 modules, we'll install the DDRs in A2 and B2 slots. Make sure to align the notches on the module with the ridge in the slot, then apply even pressure and firmly press the module in. Do the same with the other one. Let's now move on to installing the NVMe SSDs. I'm adding 2 WD Black SN770 SSDs, primary one with 1 TB and the secondary one with 2 TB of storage. The MSI Mag B650 motherboard comes with Shield Frozer heatsink over 2 of the 3 M.2 Gen 4 slots to prevent thermal throttling. Gently insert the first SSD in the top slot at a 30-degree angle, press it down, and then rotate the EZ-M.2 clip to hold it in place. Don't forget to remove the protective film from the thermal pad under the Shield Frozer heatsink before putting it back in place and securing it. Do exactly the same with the second SSD. Loosen the Shield Frozer heatsink screws. Lift it up. Insert the M.2 SSD at a 30-degree angle. Press it. Rotate the clip to fix the SSD. And then remove the protective film and put the Shield Frozer heatsink back in place and secure it. It will provide additional storage. However, you might want to install it after setting up your operating system. Windows tends to place installation files on secondary drives. Time to install the motherboard. Place it gently into the PC case and find the 6 32 flat screws. The screw holes of the motherboard should align with those inside the case, and the metal standoff in the case should align with the middle screw hole on the motherboard. Fasten the motherboard to the inside of the case. Make sure not to over-tighten the screws. This is how it looks with the motherboard nicely secured. Let's take a closer look at the front panel connectors. Here we have the HD audio, front panel header, USB 3, and USB-C. We need to connect all the cables to the motherboard. Let's start with the HD audio. Next, the front panel header JFP1, USB 3, and finally, USB-C. Moving on to the power supply unit. This one is the Corsair RM1000e 2023 model. It's fully modular, which simplifies cable management. 80+ gold certified, it is reliable, and with 0 RPM fan mode offers near silent operation at lower loads. Let's connect the ATX 24-pin motherboard cable. The end that has 2 connectors needs to be plugged into the PSU. Next, connect the 2 EPS 8-pin CPU cables. The end without the CPU written on it needs to be plugged into the PSU. Then, plug in the new generation PCIe Gen 5 power adapter 12 plus 4-pin cable, which is for NVIDIA 4000 series GPUs. And finally, connect the 6-pin SATA cable, which you might need for any additional HDDs or SSDs. If we need any other cables, we'll connect them later on. So, let's now place the PSU into position and secure it with the hexagon 6mm screws. Once you've secured the PSU, connect the ATX 24-pin cable and the CPU cables to the motherboard. Now, let's focus on the Corsair iCUE LINK H150i RGB CPU cooler. The box contains screws, mounting kit for all modern CPU sockets, Corsair iCUE LINK system hub, necessary cables, liquid CPU cooler, and pre-installed fans. For this build, I'm using an AMD setup, so I'll need the AMD brackets as the pre-installed ones are from Intel. Take a quick look at all the cables included. Next, I'll show you how to connect them to the iCUE LINK system hub. I'm starting with connecting the long and thin 2-pin 1-wire TAF cable to the system hub. Next is the micro USB cable. And then the 6-pin micro-fit connector. We'll also need a spare 6-pin PCIe cable, which is not included with all the other cables, however was included with the power supply unit. Later on, I'll plug it in the PSU in order to power the cooling system. Next, we need to connect the radiator to the system hub. In order to do so, I'm using the 600mm iCUE LINK cable. One end goes into an available port in the system hub, and the other one into one of 2 available iCUE LINK ports on the distribution hub. Next step is to connect one end of the 135mm iCUE LINK cable to the distribution hub, and the other end to a fan mounted on the radiator. Don't forget to peel off the protective film from the pump head. It might be a little bit more difficult to do so later. As you can see, it sticks on pretty well. That cover is obviously removable and you can place it back in easily as it's held by magnets. Now, Carefully remove the plastic cover protecting the pre-applied thermal paste. Make sure not to damage it. Next, remove the pre-installed Intel bracket and replace it with the AMD bracket. Make sure to secure it evenly on both sides. We need to unscrew the AMD mounting brackets. And attach the provided standoffs to the CPU socket. Be careful here, the standoffs are not the same on both sides. The shorter side goes in the socket. Time to install the radiator. Attach it with the short screws and washers. Quick note, I've temporarily disconnected the radiator from the iCUE LINK system hub. I'm going to connect it once all the fans have been installed. Let's now install the pump unit. Align the bracket with the standoffs and place the pump gently on top of the CPU. Use the thumb nuts to secure it. Make sure to tighten them evenly. Moving on to the fans. These are the Corsair iCUE LINK HX150i RGB fans. Inside each box, we've got 3 RGB fans, screws, stickers, connectors, and cables, including the 135mm and 600mm iCUE LINK cables, and the iCUE LINK system hub. First, let's link our 2 sets of 3 fans with the 135mm iCUE LINK cable. Run the iCUE LINK cable connected to the radiator to the back. Don't forget to connect the other 600mm iCUE LINK cable to the fans before securing them. Peel off the stickers from the fans. Then attach the other 3 fans to the bottom of the case with the 10mm screws. Again, remember to peel off the remaining stickers. Now we need to connect the iCUE LINK system hub to the power supply unit. Once that's been done, connect both 600mm iCUE LINK cables to the system hub. The hub is magnetic, so it will snap onto the back of the case, or you can just use the stickers to attach it. Next step, connecting the micro USB cable and also the TAH cable to the motherboard. It can be plugged into either pump fan or CPU fan. Finally, let's install the rear fan. Simply connect it to a fan mounted on the radiator using the 135mm iCUE LINK cable. And then attach it with the screws to the case. Let's move on to the graphics card. This one is the MSI GeForce RTX 4070 Super 12G Gaming X Slim. After unboxing and removing the plastic film and plastic cover protecting the golden pins of the GPU, we need to locate the PCIe lane for the GPU and unscrew the expansion slot covers corresponding with it. In this case, it's the 3 covers below the top one. Next, align the GPU with the PCIe lane and insert it by firmly pushing it in until you hear a click. Hold the GPU in place with the screws. You might want to replace the bottom expansion slot cover so less dust gets inside the case, but don't attach it with a screw yet. As I want to support the GPU with a bracket, I need to unfasten one more screw. Now, align and attach the support bracket to the PC case. The bracket offers additional graphics card reinforcement, especially during transport, and it looks nice. Next step is to plug the new generation PCIe Gen 5 power adapter 12+4 pin cable into the GPU. Make sure it goes all the way in. Don't forget to remove the plastic plugs from the GPU ports. And that's it! Just remember to flip the PSU switch on before turning on the PC. That looks absolutely amazing! I hope I don't have to remind you to put the top, glass, and rear panels back in their place. Thanks for watching! See you next time!